We have been reading about a gift for Mama, and we know that there's a young lady in the story whose name is Sarah. And Sarah has a problem. Who would like to summarize what Sarah's problem is for me? Marina.
Her mother is not letting her buy a gift because it's a tradition in the family that the younger kids make gifts for their mother and father.
And Sarah's feeling what?
She's feeling bad because she thinks she's old enough to buy a gift.
Okay, she thinks she's old enough to buy that gift. Last night for homework, you were given an assignment to go home and talk to an adult or an older family member about things that they felt that they were old enough to do, but their parents felt that they weren't old enough to do.
When I was a young girl, I used to live a couple of miles away from the center of town. And in the center of town was the library, plus there were a lot of stores. And because we lived a bit of a distance, my mother did not like for me to go to the center of town alone or even with friends because she thought it was unsafe. So I had to convince her that I was old enough because she had taught me about walking and to watch out for things so that I would be safe, and what to do in the event that, let's say, someone was following me, or even today, if someone was following you with a car, okay? How she taught me never to speak to strangers. So I had to try to convince her that I remembered and I knew all of the things that she had taught me. And she eventually let me do that. So on Saturdays, I was able to go into town.
So we're going to take a few minutes now to talk about what happened when you shared this at-home activity with your parents.
My mom had 2 times. So when she was about 13, she got glasses.
And I hated wearing eyeglasses, and I really wanted to wear contacts, but I had to convince my parents that I was responsible enough to put them in and take care of them so I wouldn't lose them or break them.
Then finally she convinced her parents, so she got them at 15.
Thank you very much. Go ahead, Radeep.
My grandfather shared with me that when he was young, about 7 years old.
Да, пионерский лагерь. Они не согласились, но я не послушался и поехал. И потерял дорогу, и какие-то чужие люди вернули меня обратно к моему дому. И это был очень страшный опыт. После этого я старался слушаться родных.
Это кончилось?
It's
Well, what my grandpa said is he asked his parents that if he could go to camp alone on a train, but they said no. But he didn't listen to them anyway, and went. He lost his way on the way there, and then some strange people got him home safely. Ever since that, he did almost everything everybody asked.
Okay, thank you. Somebody else would like to share about something that you thought you were old enough to do? Yes.
I said about old enough for getting allowance because she doesn't give me allowance.
What would you do with the allowance?
Buy stuff.
Like what?
Baseball cards.
Baseball cards. Would you save any of it? What would you save it for?
School stuff.
School supplies? Do you need a lot of school supplies?
Yes.
You always need a good pencil, don't you?
And she said maybe in a couple of years.
Is there anything that you could do to help her know that you really are old enough to get that allowance?
I could be more mature.
What does that mean?
Well, mature means when you act better.
I think you're headed towards something. I want to know more about this mature thing.
Well, mature is when somebody, kind of makes a change. Like, say somebody still kind of acts maybe like a 3-year-old, and say they're in 2nd grade. When they get to 3rd grade, then they start to act like that they were 3rd grader instead of being a preschooler.
Okay, so that shows maturity. What have they done? What has happened to a person that's matured?
They understand things better than they did when they were smaller.
Okay, they understand things better. So let me see if I can ask this question. Is it right for parents to stop us when we feel we're old enough, but they don't feel we're old enough? Sarah, help me.
There are parents, and we have to still follow them because we're all so young. And they might loosen up over the years when we get older. But right now they want to hang on to us because we're so young.
Okay, so you're saying when we're young, we really don't have the maturity to make our own decisions. We have to rely on our parents?
Well, you can make the decisions because when you were younger, you probably didn't get to decide what you want to eat, but now we do. And I guess it just changes during your years.
Okay, I'm trying to figure out where that change comes in. What about the behaviors? How do behaviors have to do with maturity? Jarek, can you help us?
Like being bad or doing something wrong.
What does being bad mean? What kinds of things does a person do when they show that they're not mature?
When you talk back to somebody, hit somebody, and jump out your seat, yelling.
Mm-hmm. Those are all signs of immaturity? So can it happen to a 3-year-old? Could it happen to a 16-year-old?
Yeah.
Could it happen to a 16-year-old?
Yeah.
So how do we mature? What kinds of things must we do to mature? And how do we show that?
Say
show?
nice things. Like say you did good, and I like that. You're right.
Mm-hmm.
You're special, and nice things. Encouraging words.
All right, so to be encouraging to people.
If you act and if you give maybe like other people's give other people's their ways sometimes and not always want your way.
Let's say you have a problem respecting somebody. Like when somebody talks, you have a problem talking when they talk.
Then you have to get into the habit of not talking, and when you have some information to give to the class or the group, you will wait for your turn.
Okay, so that's a sign of maturity. Things that you used to do, like automatically, you're thinking about now and you're saying, maybe I shouldn't do those things the way I used to do them. I want to talk about how you felt working with your parents. How did they feel helping you with the homework? How did it go?
It felt sort of good because I really, I don't get to spend a real lot of time with my dad like I do with my mom because my dad's at work all day.
Mm-hmm.
So
When you have a brother and sister, you don't get all that attention.
Yep.
Because you have to share it with everyone else. And it's fun to have attention from my mom once in a while.
Did you enjoy that?
Yeah.
What do you have to say about it? We have comments? How did you like that? We've done this before.
Yeah.
And what was your feelings?
I don't know. It felt fun.
It felt like fun? Why?
I don't know, because you're always working at the computer and everything. This is fun to, just talk alone.
That's right, because Mommy does work, and at times Mommy does have to get to the computer and do some
Not
other additional
sometimes,
work.
But all the time.
Right. So it's nice to be able to sit and share in this activity because it gives us an opportunity to be together and to discuss things, right?